Okay, so in this video, we're looking at number 4 here, okay? Now, number 4 is a little bit different. We're going to write the equation of a circle, but we're not given the center or the radius of this circle. What we are given is 2 endpoints of the diameter, okay? So we're going to use some things that we've gone over recently, okay, to help us find the center and the radius, okay? So P here, 1, 8, and Q, 5, -6, are on the circle, okay? And they're endpoints of the diameter. So what that means is that segment, if we were to draw a segment from P to Q, goes right through the center, okay? So let's think about what that means. The diameter is twice the length of the radius, okay? So the first thing I can do here is I can find the center of the circle. Now, eventually, we're going to plug it into standard form, but I need the center and the radius to be able to find an equation here, okay? So the first thing I want to do, I can find the center of the circle if I find the midpoint of the diameter, okay? Hopefully that makes some sense logically. If I find the midpoint of PQ, that's going to be the coordinates for the center of the circle, all right? So let's find that midpoint. So the midpoint of PQ, remember midpoint formula, I'm going to add the x-coordinates together, 1 + 5, and divide by 2. Then I'm going to add the y-coordinates together, 8 + -6, and I'm going to divide that by 2. All right, so the midpoint of PQ is going to be 6/2, 2/2, which simplifies to 3/1, okay? So one of the most important things I had to do was find the center, and I could use midpoint to do that. So now I have the coordinates of the center. So I've got my h value, and I've got my k value. Okay, so now I need to find the radius. So think about how you might find the radius. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to find the radius of the circle by finding the length of the diameter, okay? And I'm going to use the distance formula to do that. And we got to remember, again, the diameter is twice as long as the radius. So once I've found the diameter, if I divide that by 2, that's going to give me the radius, okay? Now, if you trust your work, it will be easier to find the distance from P or Q to this center, 3, 1, that we just found, okay? But what if that midpoint was wrong? What if you made a mistake here? All right, so if you trust your work, it's a little bit easier. You can find the distance from P or Q to this midpoint or this center, and that's going to give you the radius. If you're not sure about your work, then you can find the length of the diameter and then divide that by 2, okay? I'm going to show you how to find the length of the diameter and then divide that by 2, just because, you know, as often as possible, it's best to use given information, not found or calculated information, okay? So the distance from P to Q. So remember the distance formula. We're going to subtract the x-coordinates, okay, and we're going to square that difference, plus subtract the y-coordinates and square that difference. Okay, so that gives me 4 squared plus a -14 squared. So when I combine those, I get 16 plus, I think it's 196 here. 16 plus 196 is going to be 212. Okay. Now, I don't want this decimal version. I actually need to simplify this in radical form. So 212, the largest perfect square factor is going to be 4. So 4 times 53, which simplifies to 2 radical 53. All right, so this is the diameter of this circle. This is the length of the segment from P to Q. Okay, so to find the radius, okay, I'm going to divide that by 2. So 2 radical 53 divided by 2. Well, those 2's just cancel out. So I'm left with a radius being radical 53. Okay. So I found the 2 things I need. The center of the circle, h, k, and the radius. So now that I have those values, I can plug those in or substitute those in to my standard form. Okay. So remember, standard form, x minus h quantity squared plus y minus k quantity squared equals r squared. All right, so let's plug in those values. So x minus the x-coordinate, so x minus 3 squared plus y minus the y-coordinate of the center, y minus 1 squared equals the square root of 53 to the 2nd power. The only thing I have to clean up is this part here. So my final equation is going to be x minus 3 squared plus y minus 1 squared equals 53. Now, if you want to check your work, if you want to verify that, I'm going to zoom out just a little bit. If you plug in either of these ordered pairs, okay, 1 comma 8 or 5 comma negative 6, okay, you should be able to plug either or both into those into our equation, and it should be true, okay, because these points are on the circle. So if I plug in 1 for x and 8 for y, I should get a true statement here, and you will, okay, but I still want you to check that. So this is the equation of the circle with the given information, okay?